of Glon, and Glon confirmed that they saw a blip in the area, and that was also confirmed by another radar station which is about 100 miles away. Based on that, they asked to send these two aircraft in the air.
So that night we had a scramble with two F-16. I was one of the two pilots, so I was leading the pair for that mission. We had a lot of information coming from the ground, and those people could basically inform us about the exact position of the, I would say, the UFO.
Ground radar observed a blip which was moving very fast from an area south of Brussels towards the east. The aircraft were in the near vicinity and, of course, tried to detect that particular object. And the two aircraft confirmed that they had a lock-on which showed the speed of 700 knots, around 700 knots.
The F-16s had repeated locks onto the UFO, but as they closed in, it changed direction and speed with extraordinary maneuverability. The pilots had no doubt that the target was real.
We had a different radar contact on the target, so it happens at least 3-4 times, where we could acquire a radar lock-on with the F-16, and we knew that at least 1 or 2 times we had exactly the same contact as the one which was on the screen on the ground. It was accelerating very fast, so it was going from 50 knots to more than 1,000 knots. It was really climbing and descending very fast, and it was changing heading abruptly. And most of the time it was even flying supersonic.
The Air Force never did make direct visual contact with the UFO. Exactly what the target was remained a mystery.
I don't think it could have been experimental aircraft. First of all, we always look to the United States. They could have been doing experiments here. I don't see why they should be doing it in Belgium in the first place. Secondly, they confirmed officially that it was not them. We had an official declaration of the ambassador here. And thirdly, the performance of this system was such that it could not be related even to an experimental technology.
It was not a prototype, and I don't really believe it was a meteorological phenomena at that moment.
There's not much left, and one could refer to an extraterrestrial observation or vehicle, if you want. And I think that's an option which, or an assumption which should not be excluded. I'm not saying that it was an extraterrestrial, but it is an assumption that should not be excluded.
The radar tape from one of the F-16s was sent for detailed examination by experts at the Center for the Study of Electronic Warfare. The radar specialist who advised the investigating team there was Professor Emil Schweitzer, a distinguished physicist who teaches at the country's elite military academy. What did he make of the strange unidentified craft that the Belgian Air Force tried to intercept?
That UFO could make right turns, which is impossible by our laws of mechanics, and that UFO could also change very suddenly the velocity, which is also impossible, but because it would give an infinite acceleration.
Is it possible that the Air Force's unseen UFO was nothing more than a technical aberration in the radar equipment?
I don't think that you can explain it by saying that all radars made the same mistake. That's highly unlikely. There are different types of radar, there are different types of antennas, and also the orientation of the target was different for the four radars. I'm going to be fired by my colleagues, but I think that extraterrestrial intelligence is very highly likely.
A photograph of the Belgian Triangle of Lights was later computer enhanced. The image that was revealed appears to show a dark, delta-shaped craft behind the lights. As more and more people worldwide look to the skies, so more and more UFO sightings are reported. And increasingly an extraterrestrial interpretation is capturing the popular imagination. Mass communications have spread details of sightings around the globe, revealing among other things that there are recurring similarities between some UFOs of today and those of the past. This footage was taken near a military base in Montana in 1957.
I saw two silvery objects moving swiftly out of the northwest. The objects were very bright and about 10,000 feet in the air. They appeared to be of a bright, shiny metal, like polished silver. Both were the same size and were traveling at the same rate of speed, which was much slower than the jets which shot by shortly after I filmed the discs.
In Germany, more than 30 years later, strange balls of light were again seen in the sky. But this time they were stationary, and both witnessed and photographed by hundreds of people. It happened at Greifswald on the Baltic Sea. Valery Vinogradov was one of those who had his video camera to hand, and he recorded what he saw that night.
Da reden Leute etwas über UFOs, also das was also da Interessantes muss sein.
I heard noises, so I went into the kitchen. I looked out of the window. I could hear excited voices in the street, and everyone was pointing towards the sky. And then I saw these glowing balls hanging in a sort of formation in the sky. It was in this direction, over Greifswald nuclear power station, towards the town of Lubin. Within the formation, the spheres all seemed to be rotating, but it was as if they were acting together in a formation, and the whole group was hovering, not making any sudden moves. It was just hovering in a stable kind of way. Then I saw a small sphere coming from the right. It looked as if it flew right into the group and dissolved. I think it's proof that, whatever they were not flares.
So far, pictures on their own have done little to solve the mystery of what UFOs are. While it's true that still photographs, moving film and more recently home videos have produced an intriguing record of sightings over the past 50 years, imagery alone has failed to reveal much about the true nature of the objects we're seeing. The inevitable distant, handheld, out-of-focus pictures say little or nothing of the UFO's internal mechanism, if indeed they have one.
If we say, how would an alien phenomenon look, then we don't have a clue. It might look like a UFO. It might look like an ordinary airplane because they're disguised. It might be totally invisible. We could look out there and there could be an alien spacecraft hanging over the city of Houston. It's possible, but we're looking for evidence to prove it's so.
It seems there is no stereotype for UFOs. Cigar-shaped, bowl-shaped and saucer-shaped craft are the most common manifestations of the phenomenon. Whatever they are, UFOs by definition display characteristics that are clearly different from any known conventional craft. And that is about as much as can be deduced from visual images.